Neha Gupta is a two-time international best-selling author, top 100 teen expert around the world, TEDx speaker, and serial entrepreneur, creating the Shortcuts empire on helping students get into their dream school. Over the last 12 years, she has built elite private tutors college shortcuts, medical shortcuts, law school shortcuts, grad school shortcuts, and MBA shortcuts, with the mission to serve families and make parents' lives easier every day, while 95% of families get into their dream school. She has helped tens of thousands of students get into their dream school and won't stop until every child gets that acceptance letter. She has built a school in Africa, been endorsed by Dr. Shefali Sabari, the world-leading parenting expert by Oprah, and families around the world interview to work with one of their companies for limited spots. She has been featured on ABC as an expert for teenagers, NBC, CBS, Good Morning TV, The Washington Post, Parents Magazine, and even coined the female that helps students get 6 figures in scholarships, according to Student Loan Hero. Welcome to her latest creation, Dream School TV, where she brings in the best experts and guests on admissions and gives the latest trends and tips. Take it away.
Hey everyone, this is Neha Gupta. I'm so excited to do this training today. I want to talk about the 3 massive mistakes we keep seeing every single year in admissions. But I'm going to talk about the latest trends so that you know the exact things that are going on right now. Now, if you are watching this video and you know a family that could easily use this, go ahead and tag them below, write their name in, or share this with them so that they can also get in on this free training. Because one of the biggest things we keep seeing is that students are making mistake after mistake after mistake after spending their entire academic career trying to do the best that they can at admissions. So I want to make sure that you and your friends and family have the information that they need. So let's get into what these mistakes are. Number one of the biggest mistakes that we keep seeing, and I heard this recently from multiple admissions directors at some of the top universities around the country. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Neha Gupta. Before I get into it, my name is Neha Gupta. I'm the founder of College Shortcuts, MBA, law school, med school shortcuts as well. We help students to get into the college of their dreams and beyond. And if you are looking to help your student get into the college of their dreams or any of the programs you're looking for, we have admissions consultants that have worked at top schools. And that's why this video is so powerful today, because we want to give you that insider information that you may not have when you're helping your kid in this process. And what does that mean? That means that you're not getting that competitive edge that is so powerful in the admissions process. So let's talk about it. The first mistake that we see every single time is that students don't actually follow the essay prompt. Now, I know that sounds really simple. You're like, that makes no sense. But every year, the Common App and all of the graduate programs have a personal statement essay. And the weird thing is, students will go off topic, or they'll write about someone or something else and not focus on themselves, or they'll deflect. This is the one place where the combination between writing about yourself, doing it in a humble but confident way without bragging, is very important. And the problem that we see over and over is that students are going off topic, or they get on a tangent and they go somewhere else versus staying right on. For example, let's say the topic says personal statement of choice. That's a free-for-all. You can write about whatever you want. But one of the things that I've heard from multiple admissions directors is that when they read an essay, they'll be reading the beginning and it makes sense. And then all of a sudden, halfway through, they don't know where they're going. And then they go to the bottom and it sort of sounds like a close, but they don't know what the pitch is. Like, why should they take the student? And I was floored when I heard this. For some graduate programs, it's literally only 250 words. Guys, that's not a lot of words. It's actually a lot harder than writing a 600-word personal statement, is to write a shorter one. But how are you guys getting on different tangents is what I don't get. I'll tell you an example. We were working with a student named Shelly, and we saw she had started off talking about all of her achievements and how great they are. And then halfway through, it literally became like a eulogy for her parents and how amazing they are and how lucky she was to be birthed by her parents. The thing is, her parents are not going to that university and the school just doesn't really care. So I had noticed there was almost 10 to 15 sentences that we just deleted. Now, Shelly was in horror as I did this in the Google Doc. It was like, oh my gosh, don't get rid of my essay. And I was like, why? You don't need this. This is literally not what they are looking for. So that is one of the biggest mistakes we see over and over, is that students go off topic or they don't write about what they're being asked about. The second thing that we see, and I know this sounds a little weird to you, is that students don't talk about things that they feel vulnerable about or that they've failed at or they've taken risks with. They want to think about how to write in a way that showcases not just the good, but also the hard stuff that they went through. And most students are always focused on, what does the admissions director want? What does the admissions team want? I'm going to write from that perspective. But the thing is, they don't really know what they want. And so they're writing these essays and they're not really powerful at all. Instead, they're the most perfect, polished version of who they are. And it doesn't really make them stand out. I remember we were working with a student. She lived in this incredible house. Her name was Ellie. And she went to a top private school. And we were writing her essay, and it was all about her love for field hockey and how all her friends were great and how she wants to go to the school for, studying some subject or whatever it was. But then I asked her, I said, hey, is there anything you've been through that's kind of difficult in your life? So we had the first draft and she was kind of just focused on the surface stuff. And I said, well, what's been the hardest thing for you? She goes, well, there was a point in my life where we lived in Iraq and there were times where we would hear bombs flying over. And I only recently found out that my dad is actually not my real dad. And to me, that was it was almost like she dropped a bomb in our session where she had been going through something really challenging and difficult, all while going to school and putting on this incredible front and not talking about these experiences, these near-death experiences she had. And I said, well, what are your thoughts around maybe writing about this? And she was like, you want me to write about something that's really hard and difficult and doesn't show them how awesome I am? I'm like, what if I told you that's what makes you awesome? And for her, she couldn't understand that because we go through a system in education that teaches us to always come off as polished, always perfect, everything's always great, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But the reality is that the essays that actually stand out, this is a huge mistake that families make over and over. And I'll tell you why it's such a big mistake, is because when parents are directly involved with the process, they actually hamper and tamper where their kids' essays can go. So when a child's writing an essay, for example, if I'm writing an essay and I know my mom's gonna read it, I'm not gonna include most things that I wanna talk about because maybe there are things that have gone on in my life that I haven't really told her because I was scared, or maybe I don't wanna worry her, or I don't wanna get into some big parental discussion about how to heal from that situation or learn in a parental lecture way about the hardship I went through to get some parental advice. I'm not gonna open myself up vulnerably if, first of all, if I don't have the best relationship with my mom, which, by the way, 99% of teenagers that I've seen don't always have a total open door policy. And second, I may not be ready to share that with her, but I may be open to sharing that with someone I don't know. That's a third party that creates a safe space. And so when we ask these types of questions to students, it's almost like they've been looking for someone to talk to about some of these hard things. I was working with a student named Katie. She's now graduated from her top school. She has an incredible job, loves her life. And she had written an essay about energy vampires. And it was all about the experience of being who she was in her high school, but never fitting in. Now, Katie looked like the kind of girl that should have fit in. Let me be very clear. She was popular, beautiful, this, that, the other. She was part of the group, but there was something about her that always felt like they were negative or difficult, and she didn't know how to really verbalize it. Now, I knew her mom really well, and they definitely had a little bit of tension, let's get real. So we were able to work through and write this essay in a very short amount of time, but her essay was so powerful, I still remember it 7 years later. Do I remember her essay over the kid who writes about how awesome their life is all the time? Absolutely. Because see, admissions officers are trying to understand something that it's really hard to explain it in a term like grades, SAT, ACT score. It's something that's a softer skill, and it's called grit and resilience. These are the types of things that the essay showcases. Where have been the times you've stumbled or had a hard time? So this is a big mistake of creating an application that's so picture perfect that it doesn't actually showcase some of the stuff that you've been through. So I hope that really helps you in understanding, the typical first problem, which is the essay prompts not being followed properly. And then the second one is really not being vulnerable or real, or not giving your child the space they need to really be able to express themselves fully and getting that outside mentorship help. Now, the third issue that we see over and over and over in the admissions process is building the right school list and finding the right programs. See, on average, at a typical public school, you've got one counselor to 500 students. At a private school, maybe it's 1 to 50 or 1 to 30 students. Now, career counseling is a very interesting, I would say, an interesting way around how we help our kids. And a lot of times it's more like, hey, you like math and science, you should do computer science. Or, hey, you're really good at biology, you should be a doctor. Or you're really good at English, you should go work at a magazine. Guys, these are jobs that exist, but there's so many more things. And so what we've seen over and over is that students are applying to schools, they don't even know what they want to do. Parents are about to invest $40,000 to $50,000 a year into their kid not knowing what they want to do, hoping they might find it out while partying, having fun, meeting lots of kids of the opposite sex, eating whatever the hell they want, and having a great time. I'm sorry, guys, but that is not a think tank for really creating an environment where kids can truly figure out what they want. It's the kids that already have a slight bit of direction or a sense that actually take that and flourish on the campus. So to me, I really believe that one of the biggest mistakes we see over and over is this concept of undecided. Now, I'm going to talk about this from an educational business perspective on why it actually works for the education system for your child to be undecided. And this might blow your mind a little bit, and it might make some educational institutions unhappy, but this is the truth. On average, 1 in 3 students are graduating in 5 to 6 years. Can you imagine having to pay an extra $50,000 to $100,000 to an institution so your kid could figure it out? Your child going undecided is beneficial to the school's bottom line. And I hate to tell you that, but it's true. So imagine if you could have, I don't know, 100 extra kids paying an extra $100,000 during their education because they're figuring out which classes and, oh, they couldn't get into certain classes because they didn't know what they were doing early on. That all falls onto you and your paychecks and your money. So to me, I always believe the investment starts earlier on. The biggest mistake we see over and over and over is this concept of undecided. And parents have to really pay the price, and it kills me when I see that. A lot of students, the reason why they don't know what to do is because our education system is broken. There aren't, internships that are built in for high schools or shadowing opportunities. Like, you have to do that on your own. Or if you have a mentor, which is what we do, and we mentor students to find opportunities, go to the right summer camps, try out new activities, get out of their comfort zone, do all sorts of different things. That smorgasbord of experiential learning is how they start to figure out what they want to do. We also do detailed assessments. We understand their personality. We figure out what are going to be their strengths that make them successful in this process. See, the admissions process is not just about getting into a good college and being able to say it to all your aunties and uncles and all your friends. It's really about figuring out how to go from teenage life to adulthood and then from adulthood and beyond. This same process, by the way, applies to undergraduate. While you're an undergrad student, how are you packaging yourself? How are you going to apply for grad schools properly? How are you going to apply for the right internships to get the right jobs? This skill set is so powerful. And that's why I truly believe that these 3 mistakes are exactly why families are failing in the admissions process. First, the kid is not following the essay prompt. Second, when they write it, they're not really being real and vulnerable and authentic in their essay. And third, they have no idea what the hell they want to do. And to me, that's a problem that I want to fix. If 80% of Americans hate their jobs, that means 8 out of 10 people hate their jobs. If you hate what you do, you have higher cortisol. If you have higher cortisol, you have higher stress. If you have higher stress, you have higher blood pressure, which means eventually you could have higher cholesterol, which means eventually you could have a heart attack. That's why we're seeing so many people in their 40s having heart attacks all of a sudden. It's because they're stressed out, they don't know why, they don't love what they're doing, they hate their job, they come home, they drink, they smoke, they don't know why they're there or why they exist. Now, these are the types of big picture issues I see in the world, but I believe this can all be solved if students have the right mentors to get the right shortcut, to get the right person by their side, and hold them accountable, and make it fun while they're doing it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this training, to learn what have been the 3 latest trends that we've been seeing here in the admissions process that not only affect your kid exactly where they're at, but beyond in the process. So go ahead, make sure to share, tag this, send it in messages, text it to your friends, because I believe that if we can solve these 3 problems in the admissions office and the admissions process, your child can get into their dream school. And I believe every student should know what they want to do. Every student should find their passion early on, because life is more fun when you do it. Thank you so much. This is Neha Gupta, Queen of the Shortcut Empire. I am here to relentlessly make sure every child gets into their dream school and make sure that you as a family get to reduce your stress and anxiety in this process so that you can have someone right by your side. Have an amazing day and hope to talk to you soon. If you're interested in working with us, don't forget to apply on our website